Hi, good evening, everyone. Today I will be sharing my experience with you with racism in Canada. So, racism is real, like it is in Canada in 2020, it's still live and kicking, and it's a very saddening situation. But I'm just gonna give you an idea of what it is like to live here and share my experience with you. So when I moved here, I lived in Mississauga or Malton, in that area of Malton, and it's it is and it was predominantly Indians, so East Indians. I found it very challenging to get a position because of the situation where Indians will only employ their own kind. So that was one incident that I found very concerning. So after I did my exams, or during the time when I was trying to do my exams, I was going around trying to find place where I could get some experience. So I went to different pharmacies. I approached one pharmacist in Richmond Hill, and I went for an interview there, and he was saying, we asking me like what kind of pharmacy we have in Jamaica and what's the pharmacist experience in Jamaica, and I was telling him it's similar and everything. So his response to my interview was that I should find a Jamaican pharmacist. Okay, so I went on my merry way, and I was like disappointed because I find that a lot of incidents where people are employing either white people or people who they think are smart, because usually people don't think that if you're black you're smart. So it dawned on me that maybe that is how people look at black people and generalize us. Anyway, I happened to meet a Jamaican pharmacist, Mr. Clark. He has trying to remember the name of the pharmacy. Unfortunately, I don't. But I worked at this pharmacy. He took me under his wing, and he taught me and helped me to build my confidence. And during that time, I did my exams and finally got my certification to practice in Canada. So I moved to Kingston because I got a position to do my internship in Kingston, and I moved to Kingston. So Kingston, Canada, not Kingston, Jamaica. So so I was working at the pharmacy, and I remember one day this man came into the pharmacy. I think I'd have maybe finished internship or was on my internship. Anyway, he came into the pharmacy. I think I was maybe the only person there at that time. And he said, "Where are the white guys?" And I didn't know how to answer his question. But it I felt like saying that they either don't want to become pharmacists to deal with all the sad situations that we have to go through, or they don't qualify to go to pharmacy school. But anyway, that was just one of the things that I remember that stood out in terms of my experience with racism. I also experienced another situation where my daughter was upset one day, and we were out at the front of our apartment, and she was crying, like really screaming, because she was upset. And this lady was passing by and was saying to us, "Why is she screaming? Why is she disturbing peace and whatever?" And she said, "I'm going to call the police." And I said, go ahead and call the police." And she called the police, and they came to our apartment that day. And on top of calling the police, she was saying to me that I should go back to the islands. And she was saying this in a very thick European accent. So I'm thinking, okay, so I must go back to the islands because I am black. So where should you go back to? You're not from here, clearly. You're not born in Canada. You have a clear European accent. So that was Kingston. So we moved from Kingston and then we went to Belleville. Belleville, the experience is not much different. My kids had more of a negative experience here, and I've been going through that. I remember my daughter telling me that somebody at school was like really mean to her, and she was at kindergarten at that time. So it's really sad. Kindergarten kids are so, they learn to be mean at that age, and she always remembered that now she's 9, she's in a different school, but she said one day a little girl had a similar name to hers, and the girl said the name and she went up to the girl, and because she didn't realize that it wasn't her, and the girl was like, "Not you, black girl." So so she always remembers it, and it is really sad that at that age kids learn to be mean and racist and not be kind to each other, and understand that we're all the same. We're all the same. We still have the same red blood that runs through our vein. We still have feelings. We do the same things that you do. We enjoy the same things that you do. In the workplace is another incident where I experienced racism. Typically somebody will come and say, "Oh, I need to speak to the pharmacist." And I would approach them and they would be like, "Oh, I'm just waiting on the pharmacist." Or they ask you, "Are you the pharmacist?" Yes, I am the pharmacist. I'm not the cleaning lady. I'm not just the black lady that walked in off the road. I am the pharmacist. Here is my badge that clearly says Carrie Ann Johnson, the pharmacist. So it sometimes you have to learn to just brush it off, but at sometimes it's really difficult. I remember there was an incident with vaccines. We administer vaccines, and I was ready to administer the vaccine to a senior lady, and she was like, "No, I want the elderly pharmacist to give it to me because I don't trust you." So these are just some of the things that really impact me, and I've learned to deal with it, but it is hard. It's not an easy thing. We all have feelings, and it's not nice to be looked down upon because of the color of your skin, because I can't change the color of my skin. I'm trained just like anybody else. I went to school just like anybody else, and I feel I deserve to be respected just like anybody else. Exclusion is also something that I noticed, that some people maybe they're not aware that they're doing that, but there's a way that people can exclude you because they don't think that you're a part of them, or you won't understand what they're talking about or whatever. So that's another thing that I noticed, that people tend to exclude you because you're not similar to them. So like in the business places, it's like they'll follow you around. I'll go into a pharmacy, or I'll go into a business place or a shop or Walmart. Well, Walmart is not too bad, but there are just some business places that I try to avoid, because as soon as you go in there, is like there's always that person hanging around fixing something on the shelf. They won't come to you and ask you, "How may I help you?" But they will always be fixing something in the shelf, in the that aisle that you're trying to shop at. So I try not to shop at certain places, because if I go somewhere and I feel that I am being scrutinized and watched, I do not shop there, because I've seen cases where they're focusing on the black person and the white person is stealing something. So I try to just avoid these places. I won't spend my money at places where they don't think that I'm a hardworking, honest person. And another thing I noticed, that you'll go into places like some of the banks, you'll go there and they will be talking to you like you're stupid, or like they don't have time for you because maybe you don't have enough zeros behind your like you don't have enough money, or they just make have their impression in their head that, oh, there's another black person, like you don't, they just have this perception, they build this perception. Once you go in there, they don't even give you a chance to express yourself and get to even know what you're about before they make their judgment. And these are just some of the things that I notice in some of the, especially like I deal with a lot of banks, and I called out one lady one day. I went into, like, I think it was Scotia Bank, and I went in there and the teller was just like very curt. She was so curt. And after I left, I I went and I called the business, the manager or the person in charge, and I said, when I go to TD and they put my information in, they know my name and they'll say, how may I help you, carry on? And that's the difference between TD and Scotia that I found. So I gravitate to TD because I feel happy, I feel welcome, I feel appreciated. I feel that somebody wants to take my $100. That in Scotia, it's a total different environment. It's like they're just too curt, too. There's no warmth, there's no customer service that I find at that bank. So that was one of the reasons why I tend to gravitate to TD. I also find that in the school system, it is very discriminatory because you'll always find that black person sitting at the back of the class, whether by choice or just by the whole setup. They put you at the back of the class. Nobody pays you any mind. So it's either you're not, nobody pays you any attention, so you end up disturbing the class, or when you do take part, nobody acknowledges you. So it's like you can't win, because the black one is always the one with ADHD, or the one who is stupid, or the one who is slow, or the one who is something. You always get labeled as the stupid one. So it is a struggle. Like, it is a struggle, and it's everywhere. It's school, business, workplace, just in and around. Like, it's everywhere. So I'm just rambling right now, but just to say that it's not fair to us. We are human beings. We have the same likes and dislikes, and we have feelings. We're not all gun men, we're not all criminals, we're not all the negatives that people think that black people are. We're hardworking citizens. We pay our taxes just like everybody else. We do the same things that everybody else does. So just give us a chance to get to know us before you judge us. And we have a right to be here just like you. And we didn't come here illegally. We came here through legal means. We paid our fair share, and we have a right to be here. Thank you.